The aroma of freshly baked cookies drifted through the house as I straightened the meticulously arranged throw pillows on the sofa. It's the small details that truly matter in this profession. I took a step back to appreciate my staging, the open house poised to greet prospective buyers. Turning to check the refreshments, I froze. There, strolling through the entrance, bold as brass, were Ethan and Chloe, my ex-husband and his new wife, the woman he left me for. I plastered on my most polished professional smile, but inwardly I seethed. Ethan smirked as he approached. Well, if it isn't Zara. Still trying to sell houses, I see. Chloe chimed in, her tone dripping with condescension. I'm surprised you're still in this business, Zara. Ethan told me you were never really suited for it. I held my tongue, refusing to give them the pleasure of witnessing my distress. Ethan, Chloe, what a surprise. I didn't expect to see you here. Are you looking for a new place? I asked. Ethan replied, his arm draped possessively around Chloe's waist. Thought we'd see what you have to offer. The irony was palpable. Years ago, I supported Ethan as he established his law firm, investing my heart and soul into our marriage. But nothing I ever did was sufficient. He became aloof, critical, constantly finding fault. Determined to contribute and forge my own path, I pursued my real estate license. Ethan ridiculed my endeavors at every turn, insisting I was wasting my time. I should have recognized the warning signs then, but I was too naive, too enamored. When I discovered his affair with Chloe, his significantly younger secretary, I confronted him. He denied it, making me question my sanity. Gaslighting, they call it. I didn't want to believe it, but the evidence was undeniable. The divorce blindsided me. Ethan filed, citing irreconcilable differences. What a farce. He moved in with Chloe before the ink was even dry on the papers. I fought fiercely for a fair settlement, but he used every tactic to leave me with practically nothing. I hit rock bottom, but I refused to remain there. I immersed myself in my work, resolved to succeed on my own terms. And I did. I became a top-performing agent, established my own agency. I made it my purpose to assist women like me, those navigating challenging circumstances, find their ideal homes and reconstruct their lives. And now, here I was, face to face with my past. Ethan and Chloe, seemingly looking to downsize. I couldn't help but feel a flicker of satisfaction at the implication of their financial woes. I maintained my professional demeanor and led them through the house, emphasizing its features. Ethan muttered sarcastic remarks under his breath, but I disregarded them. Chloe seemed preoccupied, her gaze flitting nervously between us. As we concluded the tour, I couldn't resist a small jab. I'm sure I can find something that fits your budget. My business is flourishing, and I have many high-profile clients. I'm certain I can assist you. Ethan's face flushed, and he snapped, You got lucky, Zara. You're just riding on my coattails. I smiled sweetly. Luck has nothing to do with it, Ethan. I worked hard for everything I have, and I did it all without you. Chloe shifted uneasily, and I could see the fissures in their seemingly perfect facade. This was merely the beginning. They had no idea what was in store. The memories resurfaced as I drove home from the open house. Ethan's smug expression, Chloe's sharp words, they were like a knife twisting in my gut, a stark reminder of everything I'd tried to leave behind. I reflected on our marriage, how I supported Ethan through law school, how I believed in him when no one else did. I stood by him every step of the way as he built his firm from scratch. But the more successful he became, the more detached he grew. Nothing I did was ever enough. He'd arrive home late, reeking of alcohol and perfume, and I'd feign ignorance. I'd prepare his favorite meals, attempt to engage him in conversation, but he'd merely grunt and retreat to his study. I recall the day I decided to obtain my real estate license. I was weary of feeling like a liability, of depending on Ethan for everything. I yearned to contribute, to possess something of my own. When I shared my plans with Ethan, he scoffed. You a real estate agent? Don't be absurd, Zara. You don't have the necessary qualities. His words stung, but I refused to be discouraged. I studied diligently, passed my exams, and immersed myself in my new profession. However, Ethan never offered support. He would disparage my endeavors, tell me I was squandering my time. Then came the day I uncovered the truth about Chloe. I stumbled upon a text message on Ethan's phone, a flirtatious exchange between him and his secretary. My heart shattered. I confronted him that evening, my voice trembling with fury and betrayal. "How could you do this to me, Ethan? To us?" He looked me directly in the eyes and lied. "I don't know what you're talking about, Zara. You're being paranoid. There's nothing happening between Chloe and me." I desperately wanted to believe him, yearned for it to be true, but deep down I knew. The late nights at the office, the clandestine phone calls, the way he gazed at her when he assumed I wasn't watching. I hired a private investigator, and the truth emerged. Photographs of Ethan and Chloe caught in the act. I confronted him again, this time with irrefutable evidence. He simply shrugged and said, "I guess you weren't enough for me, Zara. I need someone who understands me, who supports my ambitions." The divorce was a harrowing ordeal. Ethan contested every point, attempting to leave me destitute. He even had the audacity to accuse me of infidelity. In the end, I secured a reasonable settlement, but I was emotionally devastated. I had devoted the prime years of my life to Ethan, and he had discarded it all as if it were meaningless. I reached my lowest point, but I refused to surrender. I dedicated myself to my work, determined to prove Ethan wrong. I would demonstrate that I possessed the necessary attributes, that I could thrive independently. And I did. I became a highly successful agent, launched my own agency. I made it my mission to empower other women like myself, those who had been knocked down but refused to remain defeated. But seeing Ethan and Chloe today, it all comes flooding back. The agony, the treachery, the rage. I want to scream, to lash out, to make them experience even a fraction of the pain they inflicted upon me. But I won't. I'm above that. I'm stronger than that. I've constructed a life for myself, a life Ethan can never take from me. As I pulled into my driveway, I inhaled deeply and exhaled slowly. I won't allow them to affect me. I won't let them triumph. I'm Zara and I'm a survivor. I'll be damned if I let Ethan and Chloe bring me down again. The divorce papers arrived on a Tuesday. I was at my desk, reviewing listings, when the receptionist buzzed me. "Zara, there's a courier here for you. He says it's urgent." I signed for the envelope, my hands trembling as I tore it open. The words leaped out, petition for divorce. Ethan's name, stark and accusatory, beside the checked box for irreconcilable differences. I felt as though I'd been punched in the stomach. I knew our relationship was strained, but I never anticipated he'd take such drastic measures. I never imagined he would simply abandon us. I attempted to call him, but he didn't answer. I left message after message, my voice growing increasingly frantic. "Ethan, please, can we just discuss this? Can we try to salvage our marriage?" But he was gone. I drove by our house, only to discover his car missing and a moving van parked in the driveway. The neighbors offered sympathetic glances as I sat in my car, numb with shock and disbelief. His engine idling, tears streaming down my face. I find out later that he moved in with Chloe that same day. He didn't even have the decency to wait until the divorce was final. He just couldn't wait to start his new life with her. The divorce is a nightmare. Ethan fights me tooth and nail, trying to leave me with nothing. He hires the best lawyers, the most ruthless ones, and they tear me apart in court. I remember the day of the final hearing, sitting across from him in that sterile courtroom. He wouldn't even look at me, his eyes fixed on Chloe, who sat smugly in the front row. The judge bangs his gavel, and it's over. I walk away with a settlement, but it feels like a hollow victory. I've lost everything that ever mattered to me. I hit rock bottom after that. I can barely get out of bed in the morning, let alone go to work. I start drinking just to numb the pain. I push away my friends, my family. I don't want their pity, their platitudes. But then one day, I wake up and realize I can't go on like this. I can't let Ethan win. I can't let him destroy me. I pour myself into my work, determined to succeed. I take on every listing, every client. I work harder than I ever have before, fueled by a fire in my belly that won't be quenched. And slowly, painfully, I start to rebuild my life. I find a new apartment, a cozy little place that's all mine. I make new friends, people who don't know my past, who don't look at me with sympathy in their eyes. I focus on my clients, on helping them find their dream homes. I specialize in working with women going through divorces, women who are starting over just like me. I become their champion, their rock. And as the months turn into years, I start to heal. The pain never goes away, not completely, but it becomes bearable. I learn to live with it, to use it as fuel for my ambition. I become a top-selling agent, start my own agency. I surround myself with people who lift me up, who believe in me. I find a new sense of purpose, a new reason to wake up in the morning. But I never forget what Ethan did to me. I never forget the way he tossed me aside like I was nothing. And I vow that one day I'll make him pay. One day, I'll show him exactly what he lost when he chose Chloe over me. One day, I'll have my revenge. But for now, I focus on my work, on my clients, on building the life I deserve. I am Zara, and I will not be broken. Years pass, and I throw myself into my work with a vengeance. I take on every listing, every challenge. I work longer hours than anyone else, determined to prove myself. And it pays off. My sales numbers skyrocket, and I become the top-selling agent in my office. My clients rave about me, recommending me to their friends and family. I specialize in working with women going through tough times, women who are starting over. I become their confidant, their guide. I help them find not just houses, but homes, places where they can heal and rebuild. One of my clients, a single mother named Sarah, hugs me tightly at her closing. I couldn't have done this without you, Zara, she says, tears in her eyes. You gave me the strength to start over, to believe in myself again. Her words stay with me, fueling my determination. I know what it's like to feel lost, to feel like you've hit rock bottom. But I also know that it's possible to climb out, to build a new life from the ashes of the old. I start my own agency, surrounding myself with a team of driven, compassionate women. We become known as the go-to agency for women in transition, for those who need a little extra support and understanding. My business thrives, and I become a well-respected figure in the community. I'm invited to speak at conferences, to share my story and my expertise. I even start a blog, where I write about my journey, about the challenges I've faced and the lessons I've learned. I'm not the same woman I was before the divorce. I'm stronger now. I'm more resilient. I've learned that I can't control what other people do, but I can control how I respond. I can choose to let the pain of the past define me, or I can choose to use it as fuel for my success. I choose success. I'm not perfect. I still have bad days. There are times when the pain of the past comes flooding back, when I feel like I'm drowning in sorrow. But I don't give up. I remind myself of how far I've come, of all the people who are counting on me. And I keep moving forward. One day, I'll have my revenge on Ethan. But for now, I'm focused on building the life I deserve. I'm focused on helping other women who are going through what I went through. I'm Zara, and I am a survivor. Mentorship program for young women interested in real estate. But through it all, I never forget about Ethan. I never forget the way he betrayed me, the way he left me broken and alone. I keep tabs on him, on his law firm. I hear rumors of unethical practices, of clients who feel cheated and misused. I bide my time, waiting for the right moment to strike. I know that revenge is a dish best served cold, and I'm willing to wait as long as it takes. And then one day, opportunity knocks. I'm hosting an open house for a high-end property, a stunning mansion with sweeping views of the city. I'm in the middle of showcasing the gourmet kitchen when I hear a familiar voice behind me. Zara, I thought that was you. I turn around, and there they are, Ethan and Chloe, looking older and more haggard than I remember. Ethan's hair is graying at the temples, and Chloe's face is pinched and sour. Ethan, Chloe, what a surprise. I keep my voice cool, my smile polite. I didn't expect to see you here. We're looking for a new place, Chloe says, her eyes darting around the room. Something a little more affordable. I raise an eyebrow. Oh, having some financial trouble, are we? Ethan scowls, his face reddening. That's none of your business, Zara. We're just exploring our options. I smile a slow, predatory grin. Of course. Well, As you can see, business is booming for me. I've got high-profile clients from all over the city, and my agency is thriving. I'm sure I could find you something suitable. Chloe looks uncomfortable, but Ethan just glares at me. We don't need your help, Zara. We're doing just fine on our own. I shrug, turning back to the kitchen. Suit yourself. But if you change your mind, you know where to find me. As they walk away, I can't help but feel a thrill of satisfaction. Ethan may have broken me once, but I've rebuilt myself stronger and better than ever. And now, seeing him struggling, seeing the cracks in his perfect facade, I know that my time for revenge is coming. I may have lost the battle all those years ago, but I'm determined to win the war. And I'll do it on my own terms, with my head held high and my dignity intact. Ethan and Chloe may have destroyed my past, but they have no power over my future. I am Zara, and I am unstoppable. A few days after the open house, I'm sitting in my office when my assistant buzzes me. Zara, there's a Chloe here to see you, she says. She says it's urgent. I feel a flicker of surprise, but I keep my voice steady. Send her in. Chloe walks in, looking nervous and tired. She fidgets with her purse, avoiding my gaze. Zara, I need your help. I lean back in my chair, studying her. Oh, and why would I help you, Chloe? You and Ethan made it pretty clear you wanted nothing to do with me. She takes a deep breath, finally meeting my eyes. Ethan and we're having some financial difficulties. His law firm is struggling, and we're barely making ends meet. We need to sell our house, but we don't know where to start. I can't help but feel a twinge of satisfaction at her words. Ethan, the high-powered lawyer, reduced to begging for my help. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. But I keep my face neutral, my voice professional. I see. And you think I'm the right person to help you? Chloe nods, her eyes pleading. You're the best in the business, Zara. Everyone knows that. And I know we haven't always seen eye to eye, but I'm hoping we can put that behind us for the sake of our shared history. I want to laugh in her face, to tell her exactly where she can stick her shared history. But I hold my tongue, sensing an opportunity. Very well, I say, standing up and smoothing my skirt. I'll take a look at your property and see what I can do. But I make no promises. Chloe nods eagerly, relief flooding her face. Thank you, Zara. You have no idea how much this means to us. Oh, but I think I do, Chloe, I say. I think I know exactly how much it means to you. And I plan to use that to my full advantage. Over the next few weeks, I work with Ethan and Chloe to get their house ready for sale. I bring in my team of stagers and photographers, transforming the outdated property into a sleek, modern showpiece. But even as I work, I can't help but notice the tension between them. Ethan is short-tempered and irritable, snapping at Chloe over the smallest things. And Chloe seems withdrawn and unhappy, her eyes dull and lifeless. One day, as we're going over some paperwork, Chloe pulls me aside. Zara, can I talk to you for a minute in private? I nod, leading her into a quiet room. She takes a deep breath, her hands shaking. I don't know how much more of this I can take. Ethan, he's not the man I thought he was. I raise an eyebrow, feigning surprise. Oh, what do you mean? Chloe's eyes fill with tears. He's controlling, manipulative. He's been emotionally abusive for years, but I never wanted to admit it. I thought I could change him, but I was wrong. I feel a flicker of sympathy for her, but I push it down. This is the woman who stole my husband, who ruined my life. I can't afford to feel sorry for her. I'm sorry to hear that, Chloe, I say, my voice cool and detached. But what do you expect me to do about it? She looks at me, her eyes pleading. I don't know. I just needed to tell someone. I feel so trapped, so alone. I nod, my mind racing. This is it. This is the opportunity I've been waiting for, the chance to take Ethan down once and for all. I understand, I say, placing a hand on her shoulder. And I want to help you, Chloe. But you have to be willing to help yourself first. You have to be ready to leave him, to start over. She nods, her face crumpling. I know I do. But I'm scared, Zara. I'm so scared. I squeeze her shoulder, my voice firm and reassuring. I know you are, but you're not alone, Chloe. I'm here for you. And together, we'll make sure Ethan gets exactly what he deserves. Over the next few days, I work closely with Ethan and Chloe, showing them potential properties that fit their budget. I'm professional and courteous, but I can't help but notice the growing tension between them. Ethan is short-tempered and impatient, dismissing every house I show them with a sneer. Is this the best you can do, Zara? I thought you were supposed to be the top agent in town. I bite back a retort, keeping my smile firmly in place. I assure you, Ethan, I'm showing you the best properties available in your price range. But if you have something specific in mind, I'm happy to keep looking. Chloe, on the other hand, seems withdrawn and distracted. She barely speaks during our showings, her eyes fixed on the ground. I catch her looking at Ethan with a mixture of fear and resentment, and I know that our conversation from the other day is still weighing heavily on her mind. As we're driving back from yet another unsuccessful showing, Chloe suddenly speaks up from the back seat. Zara, can we talk privately? I glance at Ethan, who's scowling out the window. Of course, Chloe. Why don't we grab a coffee? I drop Ethan off at their hotel, promising to meet him later to go over some paperwork. Then I drive Chloe to a quiet cafe, ordering us both a latte. She takes a deep breath, her hands wrapped tightly around her mug. I've been thinking a lot about what you said the other day about leaving Ethan, starting over. I nod, keeping my face neutral. And what have you decided? Chloe takes a sip of her latte, her eyes avoiding mine. I want to do it. I want to leave Ethan. But I'm scared. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I reach across the table and take her hand. You don't have to do it alone, Chloe. I'm here to help you every step of the way. Chloe smiles, her eyes filling with tears. Thank you, Zara. You have no idea how much this means to me. You're welcome, Chloe. Now, let's start planning your escape. Tears streamed down Chloe's face. I don't know if I can do this, she whispered, her voice trembling. He's all I've ever known, and I'm terrified of what he might do if I try to leave. I reached across the table, taking her hand in mine. Chloe, I know it's terrifying, but you deserve so much better than this. You deserve to be with someone who treats you with love and respect, not someone who tears you down and controls you. She nodded, wiping her eyes with a napkin. I know you're right, but I don't even know where to start. Squeezing her hand, I spoke with firm reassurance. Start by talking to a lawyer. Find out what your options are. In the meantime, document everything. Keep a record of every time Ethan is abusive or controlling. It will help you build a case if you decide to leave. Chloe took a shaky breath, nodding. Okay, I can do that. A flicker of hope sparked within me as I smiled at her. And Chloe, remember, you're not alone. I'm here for you every step of the way. We finished our coffee and headed back to the hotel, where Ethan was waiting impatiently in the lobby. Where have you been? He snapped, glaring at Chloe. I've been waiting for over an hour. I stepped forward, my voice calm and professional. I apologize, Ethan. Chloe and I had some business to discuss, but I assure you everything is under control. He scowled at me, his eyes narrowing. It better be. I don't have time for any more of your games, Zara. I met his gaze with a slow, predatory grin. Oh, Ethan, you have no idea what kind of game I'm playing. As I walked away, I could feel his eyes boring into my back, but I didn't look back. I had work to do. Over the next few weeks, I helped Chloe gather evidence of Ethan's abuse. She started keeping a journal, documenting every cruel word, every controlling action. She took photos of the bruises on her arms, the holes he'd punched in the walls. All the while, I was building my own case against him. I reached out to some of his former clients, the ones who felt cheated and misused. I gathered evidence of his unethical practices, his shady dealings. I knew the time was coming, the time to take Ethan down once and for all. And when that day came, I would be ready. Ready to watch him fall. Ready to see the look on his face when he realized that he'd finally met his match in Zara, the woman he once destroyed, the woman who rose from the ashes stronger and more powerful than ever before, the woman who would be his ultimate downfall. The day of reckoning arrived sooner than I expected. I was in my office going over some paperwork when my phone rang. It was Chloe, and she was hysterical. Zara, please, you have to help me. Ethan, he found out about the lawyer. He's furious. He's threatening to hurt me, to ruin me. I was on my feet in an instant, grabbing my keys and bag. Chloe, listen to me. Get out of there now. Go somewhere safe. I'll take care of Ethan. I could hear her sobbing on the other end of the line. Okay. I'll go to my sister's place. But Zara, please be careful. He's not in his right mind. I hung up the phone, my heart racing. I knew what I had to do. I drove to Ethan's office, my mind churning with possibilities. I had to be smart about this, play my cards just right. I walked into his office without knocking, my head held high. He looked up from his desk, his face twisting with rage. What the hell are you doing here, Zara? I smiled at him, a cold, calculating smile. I think you know exactly why I'm here, Ethan. I know what you've been doing to Chloe. I know about the abuse, the manipulation. He stood up, his fists clenched at his sides. You don't know anything, Zara. You're just a bitter, jealous woman who can't let go of the past. I laughed, a harsh, brittle sound. Oh, Ethan, you have no idea what I'm capable of. I've been watching you, gathering evidence. I know about your unethical practices, your shady dealings, I stated, my voice unwavering. I have enough to ruin you, to destroy everything you've ever worked for. His face paled, and fear flickered in his eyes. You're bluffing. You don't have anything on me. I reached into my bag, pulling out a thick folder. Oh, but I do, Ethan. I have testimonies from your former clients, the ones you cheated and lied to. I have financial records showing your embezzlement, your fraud. I have photos of Chloe's bruises, the ones you gave her when you lost your temper. I tossed the folder onto his desk, watching as he scrambled to pick it up. It's over, Ethan. You're finished. And if you ever come near Chloe again, if you ever lay a hand on her, I'll make sure you spend the rest of your life behind bars. He looked up at me, his face contorted with rage and fear. You can't do this, Zara. You can't destroy me. I leaned in close, my voice a low, menacing whisper. Watch me. I turned to walk away, but he grabbed my arm, his fingers digging into my skin. You'll pay for this, Zara. I'll make sure of it. I wrenched my arm away, my eyes blazing with fury. No, Ethan. You're the one who's going to pay. You're going to pay for everything you've done to me, to Chloe, to all the people you've hurt along the way. You're going to pay, and I'm going to be the one to make sure of it. I walked out of his office, my heart pounding in my chest. I knew this was just the beginning, that there would be a long, difficult road ahead. But I also knew that I was ready for it, ready to fight for what's right, ready to take back the power that Ethan had stolen from me all those years ago. I got in my car and drove to Chloe's sister's place, my mind racing with possibilities. I knew I had to be there for her, help her through this difficult time. But I also knew I had to be strong, the one to lead the charge. Because this was my fight too. This was my chance to make things right, to get the revenge I'd been dreaming of for so long. And I wouldn't rest until Ethan was brought to justice, until he was made to pay for all the pain and suffering he'd caused. I was Zara, and I was a force to be reckoned with. Heaven help anyone who tried to stand in my way. The fallout from my confrontation with Ethan was swift and brutal. Within days, the news of his unethical practices and abusive behavior was splashed across every newspaper and news site in the city. His law firm crumbled, clients fleeing in droves. His partners distanced themselves, desperate to save their own reputations. And Ethan himself was disgraced, his name becoming synonymous with corruption and deceit. I watched it all unfold with a grim sense of satisfaction, knowing that I played a part in his downfall. But I also knew that my work was far from over. Chloe filed for divorce, and I helped her find a new place to live, a small but cozy apartment in a quiet neighborhood. She was scared and overwhelmed, but I reminded her that she wasn't alone. She had people who cared about her and wanted to help. We spent long hours talking, sharing our stories and our pain. I told her about my own divorce, about how Ethan nearly destroyed me, but how I found the strength to rebuild my life. And she told me about the years of abuse and manipulation, the constant fear and self-doubt. Together, we started to heal, to find a new sense of purpose and hope. Chloe enrolled in therapy, started taking classes to finish her degree, and I threw myself into my work, determined to make a difference in the lives of other women who had been through similar struggles. Months passed, and life started to settle into a new normal. Ethan was a distant memory, a cautionary tale of what happens when power and ego go unchecked. But then, one day, I received a phone call that changed everything. It was Ethan. He was begging for my help. "Zara, please," his voice was desperate, broken. "I know I have no right to ask, but I don't know where else to turn. I'm losing everything, my career, my reputation, my freedom. I need your help." For a moment, I was tempted to hang up, to leave him to suffer the consequences of his actions. But then I remembered something my therapist once told me about the power of forgiveness, about how holding onto anger and resentment only hurts ourselves in the end. So I took a deep breath and made a decision that surprised even me. "Okay, Ethan, I'll help you. But not for you, for me. Because I need to let go of the past to move on with my life." We met at a coffee shop, and I listened as he poured out his heart, telling me about his regrets, his fears, his desperate desire to make things right. And as I listened, I felt something shift inside me, a sense of closure and release. I offered him some advice, some resources for getting help and making amends. Then I stood up to leave, feeling lighter than I had in years. "Thank you, Zara," he said, his eyes filled with tears. "I know I don't deserve your kindness, but I'm grateful for it nonetheless." I nodded, a small smile playing at the corners of my mouth. "Take care of yourself, Ethan. And remember, it's never too late to start over." As I walked out of the coffee shop, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. I knew I would never forget the pain and trauma of my past, but I also knew I had found a way to move forward, to build a new life based on strength, resilience, and hope. I thought back to the woman I was all those years ago, the one who was broken and lost, who thought she'd never find her way out of the darkness. And I felt a surge of pride and gratitude for how far I'd come, for the person I'd become. I was Zara, a survivor, a fighter, a woman who had been through hell and back and come out stronger on the other side. And I knew that no matter what challenges life threw my way, I had the courage and the determination to face them head on, to keep moving forward, one step at a time.